Alright, lovely viewers, as I'm trying not to say ladies and gentlemen every time, we are here for round 6 of the Arsch Pork. Getting started right off the bat with the Rikerisms, as ever. The ARC Porsche Supercup. Round 6 will head us. Can we just restart? Like, cut, end scene? No. Spa. The track is Spa. I could use a spa day, clearly. My brain is basically everywhere except the racetrack at this moment. Certainly one of the more difficult tracks to qualify at, simply because a lap here is almost 2.5 minutes long, so you'll at most get 4 attempts. And if you don't fuel for 4, you're only going to get 2 attempts. So... yeah, I mean, we're already a minute and a half into the session and nobody's even on a flyer. Heck, nobody's even in Sector 3 yet. DIVEBOMB was the first one to leave the pits, like, almost instantaneously. I don't know how he even had time to load the setup in before exiting the pit garage. His outlap is sort of looking like a flying lap, honestly. He's hauling the mail right now, and this lap isn't even being timed. His outlap will probably be faster than some actual laps. Goodness knows. The 9-car grid today, excuse me, the Thursday series grids are waning, as it's hardly, it's kind of common knowledge at this point. The attendances of these series aren't doing great. That's why we ended Indy Lights early last week at Long Beach. But DIVEBOMB is on his way around for the first lap. We're right on board with him as he makes his way around the, well, one of, like, basically the biggest track that isn't an exception, more or less. That being Spa-Francorchamps. Did I say that Belgian enough? I probably just butchered the accenting, but oh well. Eau Rouge completely flat. I certainly couldn't dream of doing that. Huh. I didn't know it gave me that little warning if somebody was near another car in qualifying. That's interesting. Never noticed that until I just looked at a Fidel slot on the leaderboard, and it was giving the warning, like, little battle symbol in the corner for... That's a lot of curb. Yeah, the curbs here at Spa are not friendly. They will reach out and grab you and basically pull you in every which way. It's quite dry in my room right now, so I'm currently suffering from asthma-ish. I'll probably be muting the mic to clear my throat or cough quite a bit in this race. Not like really that's any different from any other race, but usually it at least waits until like a couple minutes into the broadcast. I've been doing it since before the broadcast. It's like a miniature plague at this point. Anywho, DIVEBOMB only has a couple more corners to navigate before he sets the first real lap time of this session. As AJ might have a 2:43.9, but that really doesn't matter because that was an outlap. That just was timed because he has the first pit box. Super late on the brakes, barely even gets stopped for the bus stop. Might have been a slight misjudgment, but not terrible. Up to the line. The first lap of the session is going to be a 2:18.1. Now, there's some rather uncommon faces showing up today as well, with Kyler Boggs and Logan Cool making starts, and they have not made Porsche Supercup starts in a while. I don't think Kyler Boggs has made any, in fact. And he's kind of subbing in for 44R as their normal second driver, their normal second driver is not here. I think that would be Connor Hannick. maybe? Ramirez with a 227.4. That might have also been an outlap. I don't think so, though. May have just made a mistake. It's not exactly difficult to do that around here. And you can just see the difference in confidence there as Boggs basically hits the brakes going up Eau Rouge. Meanwhile, not long ago, we saw DIVEBOMB take it flat out. And Luis Ramirez must have done the same thing, because he's going quite a bit faster down the Camel Straight here. Jamie Wright ran a 226.1, and AJ Kinnickle does a 221.6. Oh, I see. McGabe is just exiting the pits now, because his first try was invalidated. So that's why. I may need to grab a drink if I get a safety car. This is getting terrible here. I might do it in between sessions if they hang on the results screen for long enough. Because this is going to start hurting after a while to cough so much. Knickel's going to have to be very, very hasty about his outlap, or he's not going to make it back around in time. I don't think he is going to. He is spending way too long in that pit lane. If he's going to make it back in time, he's going to have to literally run a pole lap time on the outlap. And with cold tires, I just don't see how that's doable. And I believe this is doing Bam on an outlap. I don't know if he really needs one. He's trying to save fuel, so he actually has enough to make a lap around. So he will begin his final attempt. I don't know if he needs another attempt, but he's going to go for one. Matthew Stotts gets to the second place with a 220.5. Fidel Fabian heads out of the last turn. He's looking for an actual lap time, and he's going to get a 225 flat. Right in the middle of the running order, more or less. Gabe out of the last turn. I think this is just him finishing his outlap, though, so no real lap time here. No. Nothing. Stotts is still on the track. AJ is still trying to get there. Ramirez is in the bus stop chicane. The speedometer is having a meltdown. He will cross and start a lap. That's an outlap. I certainly missed that from the F1 spectating overlays. It tells you if they're on an outlap or not. Instead of me just having to guess, it's kind of hard to tell the difference in on this track. It's so flippin' long. So Fidel and Jamie's qualifying sessions are over. Who's the closest to the line here? AJ Kinnickle must have barely got that in time. That must have been milliseconds, but I believe that is him driving the car, so he's going to be the last one to finish. Matthew Stotts' session is done. He is fine with where he is. Dylan's lap time has been invalidated. How do you do it there? Logan Cool improves, but he doesn't jump over anybody. Dylan just heads into the pit lane and accepts his fate. So Gabe Cazola would be next. As he heads towards Blanchimont, he has no real lap to compare himself to, as though it's just an outlap. And even his outlap was a 2:35, so kind of law of averages. He could be on pace for a mid to low 20 here for sure. Because most outlaps are 10 to 12 seconds slower, so. And we'll see what Gabe's flying lap turns into as he crosses the line. 2:25.3. Ramirez heads to the bus stop for his final lap. A bit of oversteer, but it's a Porsche. You kind of just live with that and cross the start-finish to run a 23.28 second row. And we'll see if AJ Knickel has anything in the tank, if he can find, well, at least about a second to get on the front row, or if he can somehow find 3.5 and steal pole from Mr. Rocket Man Dylan Bam over here. Final turn. Is it at least a front row for the Canadian driver? I believe we saw it move. Indeed, he managed a 2:20.1. Still 2 seconds off the pole sitter, but stealing second place from Stotts by a solid 4/10. And it is some ways down from there, as Luis Ramirez is 2.8 off of that. Fix myself in my chair so we get set for racing action here. I have lost where the cursor is. There we go. And so the starting grid rundown, as the drivers are getting their final setups and strategies set in stone. It's a lot of S's. Dylan Bam with another dominating pole. I'd say give it a couple of years and he'll probably take the record in ARC for most pole positions. That's for sure. His single lap pace is matched by just about nobody. AJ Knickel starts second, Matthew Stotts third, Luis Ramirez in fourth, Jamie Wright right in the middle in fifth, Fidel Fabian sixth, Gabe Cazola seventh, Logan Cool eighth, and Kyler Boggs rounds out the grid. As ever, be mindful of Matthew Stotts and I believe Gabe Cazola, as they both run auto gear, so they're going to have the whole shot off the starting grid. I don't know what surprises me more, the fact that we as a league haven't disabled auto gears yet, or the fact that AJ and Dylan don't just accept it and use it. But here we go. We have synced the lobby. The red lights are displayed. And we are green from Spa, and there's that race start, right up almost ahead of AJ Knickel. He's going to look down the inside, but he's not going to find much of anything. AJ Knickel might have collected a drive-through. He might have jumped a little, probably mindful of Matthew Stotts' his ability to start the race. But it's actually not gotten him anywhere. He's lost the place to Ramirez before we even get to turn 2 with Eau Rouge. Some unique interpretation to track limits, and around go Jamie Wright and Logan Cool, as we very briefly get that interesting camera literally made for people who spin in Eau Rouge and Radeon. 2-car incident, but I don't really know if either car got major damage. They didn't hit the inside wall. They just hit each other. And to those who have been around ARC for a while, oh my god, AJ Knickel just about found the curb there. He did more than find it. I think it more like tried to end him. This isn't the first time Jamie and Logan have come to blows on the racetrack. I can wholeheartedly assure you it won't be the last either. Further back, Fidel Fabian looks down the inside at Puhan, of all places. Slides in ahead of Luis Ramirez, who slides out wide and then breaks this plane of existence. Oh, Fidel Fabian's not clear. And they make some bumper-to-bumper contact, but nothing terminal just yet. A bollard gets assassinated along the way. And we're already seeing Matthew Stotts into P2 ahead of AJ. I don't really know how that happened through the S's. Must have just caught AJ off guard. AJ is, I think, flashing his lights to try and get Stotts to make a mistake. Unlikely to happen at a corner like Stablo 2. You don't really have to think too much about it. Just turn the wheel right and then turn the wheel not right. Yeah, there's a run, but the Kaneko does not take it anywhere. Ramirez might have a run. No, he doesn't. I couldn't tell because the camera work was funny. So that is lap 1 of 20 in the books. So we're looking at definitely almost... No, more than likely at least a 40... yeah, no, easily a 40-minute race. Probably closer to 50. And that's assuming we don't have cautions, which... Spa is a track that will eat people alive, and I've had it happen to me. And that's if you ignore the glitched pit wall on the front the front stretch. No, the straightaway going into Radion. Huh? Did the camera just change to Jamie right there? That's an interpretation of Eau Rouge, if ever I saw one. Oh, Fidel was around and Luis had nowhere to go. I was so confused there. Gabe Gazzola with expert evasive maneuvers nearly meets Ramirez on the exit of the spin of the crash area, and I would be surprised that's not a yellow. I feel like that could be one. But no, Dylan Bam is going on unrestricted. At some point, AJ got back ahead of Matthew Stotts. I'm just missing everything in this race thus far. Fidel is actually still somehow behind, probably because Ramirez has a bunch of front-end damage, I'm guessing. May have spun. And AJ is off at Puhan. I'm not sure how that happened. Again, I'm really just looking in the wrong places, clearly. I'm going to assume he spun going into Puhan or something, or had to really catch the car going in. Ramirez misses Stablo 1, probably because of the damage he has to his car. Where are we looking? Ramirez cannot handle that thing right now. He lets Fidel go, in spite of the fact that Fidel's the reason his car is damaged in the first place. And you'll be seeing him again in the pit lane. At least until he gets out. Also, Ramirez does not have enough fuel to make it to the end anyway, so... 4.5 liters is not enough to even make another lap, much less complete 19 more of them. Or 18 more, rather. So he pits. He didn't exactly have a choice in the matter. Fidel's mistake probably just... Why are we looking at... It's looking at Jamie Wright. Why are we doing this? And now we're back to Dylan. What game? Jamie Wright is not that interesting. He's like 5 seconds away from the next car. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to look at anywhere, honestly, but definitely not there. AJ is clearly running lower downforce than Gabe. I need to get out of this camera angle. Nice bollard sitting there. Excuse me. like I was just saying, nobody's close together. And now, as quickly as I say that, AJ is right on the back of Gabe. We have our first retirement of the race, but it is not Luis Ramirez like I actually thought it would be. Instead, it is Kyler Boggs. Ultimately, I kind of get why. I think I know why. He's not probably didn't prepare for the race, and he has absolutely zero pace. AJ with another creative interpretation of where the track ends. He's going to get up alongside Gabe Cazzola as we go towards Blanchimont, which isn't the safest passing zone, but I guess it doesn't matter if you're clear before you get there. And we'll see if Gabe maybe has some sort of clapback set up for the bus stop. He does not. They've both caught Matthew Stotts. You're judging on where the gaps changed to. He must have made a mistake of his own while I wasn't paying attention to him. AJ has a huge run, but he'd be wise not to force the issue until out of Eau Rouge and Radion. Stop looking at Jamie! I think they were both called for track limits there, so they both let off the gas down the Kemmel Straight. That's probably the weirdest overtake I've ever seen. Stop's like trying to take a screenshot. He was on and off the brake and gas. AJ has missed the La Source. That's Lake Home. I know what the track corners are named. What? I know what the track corners are named. Actually, yeah, that did make sense. I just forgot the letter D. My god, the Rikerisms are so bad today. I was trying to say I know what the track's corner names are, but my brain was like, no, R goes before that for some reason. So status quo maintained. Stotts is still in P2. I don't really know what that battle they had, if you could even call it that, was. Ultimately, I don't think you could call it a battle. Stotts is wide at Stavlo 1. I don't really know if... I think the game might yell at him for that one. Oh yeah, it did. Saw him get on the brake. And here comes Knickel, capitalizing on that slowdown from the 14 car. But his efforts are blocked as we head into Blanchimont. Former teammates, these two, and I think teammates elsewhere. But Stotts was signed to Congo Line for this series midway through the season. I don't remember who AJ had actually signed as his replacement. They're not here today. It was either Matthew Daly or Connor Hannock. Stotts manages late braking into La Source. That is the correct term for that corner. I definitely know what I am talking about. He lied unconvincingly. I mean, I do. I'm just an idiot. I know what the corner names are. I am so tired of that. I cannot put into words. Who the heck is this guy in the chat? So I don't know an ETB. Is that like some kind of... like some sort of like breakfast meal or something? Oh! Huge wiggle through Blanchimont for AJ Knickel. Finally, something to look at. This Fonseca character is currently living in the days of, like, Native Americans feasting on bear meat. Nowadays, we just have, like, hamburgers and stuff, you know? Normally. Like normal people. It's a bit of a tug of war between Knickel and Stotts. Matthew seems to have the general advantage if he can just keep his car on the racetrack. Oh my lord. You know what? Forget your camera bugs. I'm in cockpit view. This entire battle between the two drivers here has really just been... it's really just been won and lost by slowdown penalties for track limits. Probably because these cars are just so understeery. But they can also snap oversteer on you if you aren't paying attention. And they're like the 2013 Ferrari F1 car. They oversteer and understeer at the same time. It's probably why nobody likes driving the darn thing. Except for apparently Dylan Bam, who... I mean, I'm pretty sure you could give that guy a soapbox derby car and he'd find a way to make a setup for it to set a lap record. Like, give that man a Hot Wheels car. Make him drive, like, Bone Shaker. Oh, AJ Knickel's shaking some bones. On board crash as he spins coming out of Puhan. And fails to get his car pointed back straight. Here comes Gabe Cazzola. We get down his inside, and AJ would probably, yeah, I don't think you'd want to really fight that when your car kind of looks like a Volkswagen Beetle now, the way the front's all scrunched in. I mean, they already kind of do look like glorified Beetles, but now they really do. Deja vu. Nope. See you later. Almost saved it. Oh, wall tap. More damage to fix. That car is... by God, it is broken in half. Gabe Cazzola pits. I'm not exactly sure what the point of that is. Is he just having tire problems? He's got plenty of fuel. I don't think he has damage. I don't think he'd be covering off AJ for Stotts, because AJ's about to have to fix approximately 71 hours of damage to his car. Okay, game, we're gonna watch Jamie Wright this time, as he moves into third place on the racetrack. Net P4 though, I would say, but he's ahead of Gabe on pit strategy difference. I wonder now if we watch Jamie Wright go up Eau Rouge, if it's gonna change to somebody else and put the controller down. And if it changes cameras here, then we know. Oh yeah, no, sure. The default spectator camera just loves this guy. To be fair, with the very lonesome race Jamie has had, it seems about the only way he'll get screen time in this whole race. Other than when he and Logan came together on lap 1, turn 3. Gabe emerges from the pit lane, a handful of seconds behind Fidel Fabian. Why are you like this game? Why is it just trying to look at Jamie Wright's car? What is Verstappening right now? Oh, he's there right now, so it's looking at Jamie. There we go. So there's just a certain camera as you head onto the Kemmel Straight. Basically, exit of Radion until you get to where the DRS trigger would be. That just does not work and will just default to spectating Jamie Wright. What? Did he not fix his car? Hello? I don't think he did, based on the fact that it still looks like it just went through a can crusher. Well, Gabe is very quickly caught up to Fidel Fabian. New tires, probably a bit of a blessing, I would say. Luis Ramirez has disconnected. Gabe Gazzola has disconnected himself from the racing surface there. Twice. What are track limits? They're just making a mockery of that today. Logan Cool is 7 minutes behind in the pit lane. What is going on with his race? He's still driving, so it's not like he's just been AFK or anything like that. He's warming the tires. He's literally got to be like 3 laps down at this point. He's getting close. He's starting lap 6. Dylan is in the second half of lap 8. We might have something that resembles a on-track battle here. They both have no, they have track extension penalties, not time extension. This isn't pole position. Well, like, I guess there's a lot of old racing games that have timers. Time extended. Vehicles 5 and 6 have been eliminated. That's a reference for you. If anyone catches that, I'll be very surprised. Technically, I guess it should be vehicles 8 and 9 have been eliminated. We've had 2 DNFs. But that's besides the point. So is AJ's car actually fixed now? No. So either it's a visual thing, and he has fixed it now, and the game's just not syncing the repaired damage, or he wasn't damaged when I was spectating him a couple of minutes ago, and he just had a missed corner. Dylan might have made a mistake on the previous lap, based on the fact that his previous lap was a 2-minute 32. It doesn't seem to matter, though, in the grand scheme of everything, since he is leading by 20.5 seconds right now. Basically 21. In fact, now it is 21. So I don't really know that it matters, but even still. Well, that's why you're missing Eau Rouge. You're hitting steering lock. Man, the race director just decked this man. Oh my word. That isn't, I mean, yeah, he cut the track and everything, but holy cow. He was on the brake the whole Camel straight before the game finally shut up. I didn't even see where he extended that time. What? What? Alright, well, we're not going to have a battle between Fidel and Gabe anytime soon. As the race director just, like, threatened Gabe's parents, pretty much, there, with, like, slow down or your life is forfeit, or some crap. Gabe, change your steering wheel. I can't look at this. That's better. Dude's probably got hand over fist at least. Oh my god. Nope, didn't mean to hit that button. No, there's some debris on the track there. I wonder if Dylan would probably be smart not to report that, especially if he knocked it off the racing line. We'll see if Stotts comes through there and sees it himself. Nope, the debris is gone. Bro, I know that debris might not even have been there on Dylan's screen, and maybe it was just a desync thing that only I saw as the broadcaster. What's the standings here? I need something to talk about. Oh my god, there's nothing going on in this race. I know that's not exactly professional commentary to say that this race is boring, but like this race is like boring. There is no covering it up. Alright, I found the standings. Currently, it is AJ Kinnickle who's leading the points, but after a race like this, it might be in better jeopardy, I would say, if Gabe, second in points, wasn't also having just as bad of a race. Stotts is doing well in P2, and he may overtake Gabe with the points he'll score from this one if things go as they are now. And Dylan's right behind him, and he'll probably pass Stotts because he's looking set to win the whole darn thing. Fidel has all 4 points, so he's not exactly competing for much, and I can't find Jamie on here anywhere. I think this is his first start in the series, which would probably do it. Oh, yep, there's our prerequisite look at Jamie Wright moment as Dylan goes by. Way off in the distance, we see Dylan Bam is soon to be lapping Gabe Cazzola. Yes, I am still here. There's just been literally nothing happening, and there's not even been like any sort of like split times to watch. There was just interesting how far Gabe's race has fallen, considering there was a point in time where Gabe could have been on track for second place. Now here he is running fifth, and he's about to be put a lap down by the race leader, who's stretched his lead out to 34 seconds over Matthew Stotts in P2. The only thing that could be potentially brewing on the racetrack is that Fidel Fabian is slowly but surely reeling in Jamie Wright. You can see the difference between them there. It's about 3-ish seconds between the two cars. Fidel's been putting in consistently decent laps. As much as his scrunched up front bumper might tell you otherwise. In that lap specifically, Fidel took 1.5 seconds out of Jamie Wright. A 2:27.2 for the 62 car, whereas Wright ran a 2:28.8. Neither one's going to be getting... Oh, so that camera does work, but only if you're on board with Jamie Wright. What is this game, man? So there is a camera there. It is working. It's just only allowed to work if it's looking at Jamie Wright. Stupid. I wonder if that bug is somehow connected with the pit wall glitch. I don't think so. But I've heard weirder gaming programming nightmares. Matthew Stotts is in the pit lane. Interesting. Oh, he's out of fuel. That will do it. Not that it really matters. He wasn't getting any closer to doing BAM, and he's going to be able to emerge well before Jamie or Fidel get near. Oh my word, Fidel's car just did not do the work right there. He's tired. Oh, God. Excuse me. I didn't get to the mute button for that one. Are his tires falling off? Because he's just not turning. Either his tires have fallen off or he has fallen off. But that sector there has ruined his chance of catching up to Jamie in time, that's for sure. Speaking of Jamie, he's coming up to lap Logan Cool. Oh boy. I don't think I need to remind you all of what happened on lap 1. But let's put it this way, that's... Well, never mind, Dylan. Logan literally got all the way off of the racetrack to allow him to pass. So I was paranoid over nothing. I thought Logan was going to be a nuisance, not move, but he couldn't have possibly moved more, so I guess there goes that notion. Fidel's now going to have to go around him, and he's going to have to follow Logan up Eau Rouge, which will give him some dirty air. Although he seems to have coped fine. Yeah, let's look at Jamie Wright, because that is apparently very important. My battery is low. Even my battery is tired of this race. Don't give it too long, and Dylan Bam is gonna be catching up to these two. He's gonna lap all but one car in this race if he keeps the pace he's been, and I'm sure he will do that. Oh, Jamie is pitting suddenly, which I suppose will give Fidel Fabian the podium on track. Logan Cool is around in the background. Look at this tree! It seems quite likely that Dylan is going to end up lapping everybody in the field except for second place, Matthew Stotts. As he's only about a couple... Well, never mind, he's pitting, so... I guess the mandatory stop was just best saved to the end. The race got so spread out, you might as well not pit and just not even chance that something will go wrong with being like laps down, if you don't have to. And I guess I would explain that everybody else also pit at various points in the event. Don't be fooled for even a second. Dylan is still going to come out of the pits with a lead and a half. He's already leaving the box. Matthew Stotts is only in Puhan, so... As Dylan takes 3 to go and slowly cruises out of his pit stall and out of the pit lane entirely. Just behind Jamie Wright to lap him a second time. Third Dylan went. I was busy yawning to save time. Mercifully, we have arrived at only 2 laps to go. I'm about to fall asleep in this commentary booth, no offense, but there has been absolutely nothing. So like even in spite of the pit stop, well, maybe not anymore now that he had a slowdown penalty, but DIVEBOMB may be on track to, oh never mind, that was Jamie Wright I was looking at. Right! Because he's super important. He's the main character, I guess. DIVEBOMB might still lap all but 1 car in the field. Not that lapping 5 cars down really is that many in the grand scheme of things, but 5 out of 6 opponents is definitely a lot more than 5 out of, like, 11 or 13 like we normally see in a race. That almost looked fake if I didn't know any better. It's a good thing he has a 51-second lead, so even a mistake like that really doesn't even matter, as we finally get on to the last lap of the race. If it wasn't for that, I would probably be pressed to say that DIVEBOMB has run a perfect race. I guess it's not quite perfect at this point, but I mean, it's kind of close enough that even with that kind of embarrassing looking spin, I think it still kind of counts. As Gabe, let's Dylan go for a 3rd time now. Shows how out of it I was earlier on the previous lap when I said, oh, DIVEBOMB might still lap everybody. My brain really thought that that was Fidel, not Gabe. Don't really know where my brain retrieved that information from, but it really ought to retrieve something else. Preferably it retrieves some brain cells. I know they're in there somewhere. AJ, pitting on what would basically be the last lap. Not really for him, since he's a lap down, but it is the last lap for the leaders. The media says this Champ Racing Inc. dominance could be bad for the sport. But clearly that problem persists in every motorsport. I don't know why everyone pretends, but at any point, DIVEBOMB will head through the bus stop one more time, this time maybe keeping the car pointed the right direction. He does. An almost perfect race. DIVEBOMB will win by a monumental margin here at Spa. Bus stop for Matthew Stotts will keep him right in line with Dylan. This will definitely close up the championship. There's no doubt in my mind about that. So it sets up a decent race going forward. Assuming this isn't the end of the championship. I don't remember if we made that arrangement or not. But Matthew Stotts will cross in P2. 50-some seconds after Dylan. As Logan Cool is a round up ahead. A half-throttle Fidel Fabian is a net P3, and just a general P3, you're just having to wait for him to get across the line to make it official. That was confusing as heck. I was like, I don't see Gabe here. It's in between camera transitions. Jamie heads out early, but he is still credited with 5th place, obviously. And here comes the last of our podium finishers. Fidel Fabian, out of the last turn, nabs one right here. Or nabs a podium right here. And meets a very lost AJ Knickel. And the absolutely broken and beaten number 30 of Logan Cool gets to the bus stop, but something tells me he's not going to cross the line in 3 seconds. No. And that will finally wrap things up for ARC Porsche Cup's Belgian Super GP, as we apparently call it now. I guess podium interviews, but man, I don't know what to ask anybody out of this one. I don't even know if they have the energy to join the broadcast. 48 minutes of green flag running. I guess that's one nice thing. We didn't have any cautions, but this is like the one race where I would have liked to have had a caution. Because it would have made an actual race instead of whatever I was just looking at, which is like the precise opposite of that. It's like a practice session with blue flags. Wait, practice sessions do have blue flags. What am I talking about? Ugh. Alternatively, if nobody cares to do the... No one cares to do them. Stott's literally asking if I'm awake still. Yeah, I mean, I actually dozed off for a lap. But then I heard a car drive by the camera, and I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to do something. I think Dylan himself has summed it up the best. That was an race. Bit of a Clarksonism. I'm just gonna make the executive call. There's like no race to. There's nothing to interview about. Like, nothing happened. There was no on-track action. We had, like, a battle of sorts between people on the first lap, and then as soon as, like, lap 2 ended, the race was basically over. And I'm, like, struggling to think if there was ever a battle for position. The closest we kind of had was, like, something vaguely resembling that between Gabe and Fidel, but then track limits said, lol, no, stay on the racetrack, forehead. So I'm going to make the executive call. I don't think we can do podium interviews from this one. There's nothing to interview about. Nothing happened. What we can do is give a shout out to ARC's premier sponsors of the league, which include DIVEBOMB, the official title sponsor of the league. They write articles and keep up with motorsports news, mostly in Europe, but they cover a little bit of everything. They have social media pages on pretty much any site you can think of, I think. Except for, like, the silly things like YouTube. Throat is also committing no longer exist. To Sim League Pro. Oh my god! Sim League Pro. The site that ARC has been using for a couple of years now almost to organize track stats and recruit for and schedule for the different ARC leagues, and when we have so many of them, we need something to help keep that straight. And for any interested parties who maybe don't care about ARC for one reason or another, you can find plenty of other series that are open to all comers on the forum pages there. The Burn and Rubber podcast run by some of our own drivers. A little late for now.
Oops.
Yeah, I'd already said I'm not doing them because nobody was here, and because there's nothing to ask about.
I mean, you could ask about me making my return to Porsche Supercup in over, like, what, 2-3 months?
Because you were bored. That is the answer, ladies and gentlemen. Self-fulfilling question.
Oh no, I barely get podiums anymore. I kind of forgot that this thing kind of happens. Usually after an ARC race, I'm just leaving the party, just distraught, broken inside.
No, that's me today. I'm the one that had to sit through that.
The drivers too.
At least the drivers were distracted by, like, driving the car. I literally had to stare at the screen for 47 minutes while nothing but track limit penalties and buggy spectator cameras happened.
It also told me something about race setups. Make them yourself, because anybody who makes a setup says, hey, use this for the race, I'm not trusting them. I don't care, it's made by Yarno Oppenheimer. I don't care.
Anyhow, I guess thank you for the impromptu interview. To finish going over the different ARC sponsors, ironically, I was in the middle of the Burner podcast plugging while you joined. Go figure. Seeing you're one of the occasional people on it.
I'm always the most prominent member of the Burner podcast.
I thought it was Stotts or Sal.
Nah, Stotts has missed a few, and Sal has missed a few. Actually, no, Sal. I haven't seen Sal on the podcast in like months at this point. If I remember correctly, and my memory's horrible, the last time he was on the podcast was like either right before or right after Kyle Busch's third win of the season. That was like in May, June.
Anyway, yeah, the Burn and Rubber podcast, which apparently Fidel is always on. They interview drivers from all over the sort of lower divisions of NASCAR and also dirt racing. Basically just American oval racing, whether it's tarmac or not. Shout out to James McAdam, who has established a partnership with AutoRacingConnected that lets us use his in-game screenshots and other photography for promotional material, and to AJ Knickel Design, the design company run by our own league owner, and portfolio of his work is best demonstrated with the different social media posts that go up on ARC's different various media accounts. Except for Twitter, we're kind of backing off using that. There was an announcement that went up in this Discord server this morning, I believe. But with that said, tomorrow and the day after will be the Belgian Grand Prix of both the World Championship and the European Division for ARC Formula 1. But you will not hear from me again until Monday with the next IndyCar event. I don't know where that is. And it would be really awkward to just sit here in silence for 90 seconds while I sat here and found the league on SLP. Most people in the league will know before I do anyway, so forget it. That'll do it for me. Until the next Project Cars 2 event, goodbye.